My CEO screamed, "Pack your bags," in front of the entire office, and he had no idea that the moment those words left his mouth, he had just fired his only marketing department. Not a team, not a division, just me. One person running 6 years of campaigns, every social account, every email list, every ad account, every password, all of it living in my head and my laptop. He thought he was making an example out of me. 3 days later, he was the one standing in front of the board trying to explain why the entire company had gone silent online, why no ads were running, why customers were messaging asking if we had shut down. But let me back up and tell you how we got there. I worked at a mid-sized furniture company that sold online and through 3 retail stores. I had been there 6 years. I built the marketing department from nothing. When I started, we had 400 followers and a website that looked like it was built in 2009. By the time this story happens, we had 200,000 followers across platforms, a 6-figure monthly ad budget that I managed personally, and an email list that alone brought in almost a third of our online revenue. I did not have a team. Every time I asked for one, the CEO, a man named Gordon, told me he did not believe in paying for headcount when one person could just work harder. Gordon was the kind of boss who read one business book and thought he understood everything about every department. He never asked how anything worked. He just gave orders and expected results, and if the results were not immediate, he found someone to blame. That someone was usually me, even for things that were never my fault, like a supplier shipping delay or a website crash caused by our IT vendor. The week this all happened started with a product launch. We were releasing a new line of outdoor furniture and Gordon wanted it to, in his words, break the internet. I told him our budget for the launch was thin because he had cut spending the month before to save money for a new company car. He did not want to hear that. He wanted results and he did not want excuses. The day before launch, I asked Gordon for final approval on the ad creative and the email schedule because he insisted on personally approving anything customer-facing, even though he had zero background in marketing. He glanced at it for maybe 10 seconds and said, "Fine, send it, do not bother me with this stuff again, just make it work." Those words, "just make it work," would matter a lot very soon. Launch day arrived and one of our shipping partners had a delay, which is completely normal and happens in retail all the time. About 18% of pre-orders were going to ship 2 days late. This is a routine issue. Any experienced operations person handles it with a short apology email and a discount code. I drafted exactly that. Professional, honest, protects the brand. I sent it to Gordon for his required approval, same as always. He never opened it. He was in back-to-back meetings that day. But when a handful of customers complained on social media about the shipping delay, Gordon panicked. He stormed out of his office, walked straight to my desk in front of half the staff and lost his mind. He said I was destroying the company. He said the launch was a disaster and it was entirely my fault. He said if I could not handle a simple product launch, then maybe I did not belong here at all. I tried to explain that the delay came from the shipping partner, not from marketing, and that I had already prepared the customer email and was waiting on his approval like he always demanded. He did not want to hear it. He pointed at me in front of everyone and said, "And I will never forget this, pack your bags, you are done, effective immediately, security will walk you out." The office went dead silent, nobody said a word. He turned around and walked back into his office like he had just won something. Now here's the part Gordon completely forgot in his moment of anger. He fired me on the spot with no notice period discussion, no transition plan, no handoff, nothing. And I was, quite literally, the only person in the entire company who had access to our ad accounts, our email platform, our social media logins, our analytics dashboards, our domain registrar, and the scheduling calendar for every single piece of content going out for the next month. There was no backup. There was no second admin. Gordon had refused every request I ever made to add a second person with access because he said one person having full control kept things simple and cheap. Security walked me to my desk to collect my things. I packed my bag exactly like he told me to. I did not argue, I did not beg. I did not offer to help transition anything because he never asked, and honestly, after being screamed at in front of the whole office for something that was not even my fault, I was not about to offer free labor on my way out the door. Here is where the malicious compliance really begins because I did something Gordon never expected. I did not sabotage anything. I did not delete a single file. I did not post anything embarrassing. I did not leak private data. I followed the rules exactly. My contract stated clearly that upon termination, all company property must be returned and all access must be handled through HR within a standard offboarding process. Gordon had never once followed that process for me because he had never planned to fire me, he just did it in a fit of anger. So there was no offboarding meeting, there was no paperwork, there was nothing. I simply walked out with my personal belongings exactly as instructed, and left every single company account exactly as it was, locked behind two-factor authentication tied to my personal phone number. because that was how Gordon himself had insisted we set it up 2 years earlier to, in his words, keep things secure from outside hackers. I did not touch a thing, I just left. The next morning, the scheduled email for the outdoor furniture launch did not go out, because I was the only one who could approve and send it. The social media posts that were queued for the week did not publish, because the scheduling tool required a two-factor code sent to my phone. The ad campaigns kept running for exactly one more day until the daily budget renewal required a login verification, and then they paused themselves automatically, because nobody could get in. By the second day, customers who had pre-ordered outdoor furniture were emailing asking where their shipping confirmation was. The marketing inbox, which I used to check every single day, sat untouched because nobody else had the password. Our social media pages went completely silent in the middle of a major launch. Competitors were still posting daily. We were not. Sales on the new product line, which Gordon had projected to be the biggest launch of the year, dropped to almost nothing. Because the only channels driving traffic to it had gone dark overnight. By day 3, Gordon tried calling the email platform support line to get access. They told him that per their security policy, account recovery for a business account required verification from the original account owner or a formal legal request, which could take up to 2 weeks to process. He tried the ad platform, same story. He tried the social media accounts, same story. He even tried guessing passwords, which locked several accounts for suspicious activity and triggered identity verification holds that took even longer to resolve. The board found out fast, because board members had been personally forwarded some of the angry customer messages by the sales team, who had no idea what was going on and no way to fix it. Gordon was called into an emergency meeting. He tried to explain that he had let the marketing person go, and one board member, according to someone who was in that meeting, asked him a simple question: did you have a transition plan? Gordon did not have an answer because there was no plan, because he fired me in a screaming fit over something that was not my fault in the first place. 4 days after I was walked out, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Gordon. He did not apologize, not at first. He just said, "We need you to come back and fix this. We are losing money every hour." I told him calmly that I appreciated the call, but that I had already accepted my termination and had begun exploring other opportunities. He asked what it would take. I told him I would consider a contract for restoring access and completing a proper offboarding at my standard consulting rate, paid upfront, along with a written apology acknowledging that the shipping delay had never been my fault. There was a long pause on the phone, then he agreed to all of it because he genuinely had no other option. Every single login was tied to me, and there was nothing anyone in that building could legally force me to hand over instantly. I came back for exactly 1 day under contract and restored access properly, added a second admin this time whether Gordon liked it or not, and handed everything over with clean documentation. Then I left again, this time on my own terms, with a nice payment in my account and a written apology sitting in my inbox that the whole leadership team had been copied on. 2 weeks later, I heard from a former coworker that Gordon had quietly changed the offboarding policy so that every department now required at least 2 people with full account access at all times. He never publicly admitted why the policy changed. He did not have to, everyone already knew.